Today, a 40-year-old woman is shocked that her ex leveled up and now only dates high-value women. Kevin Samuels breaks down why men improve, evolve, and move on.
It seems to me that the world in general, but older black women in particular, have a real problem with certain high value black men. The 50 Cent, what the 50 Cent and Vivica Fox thing exposes. For everybody who does not know, 50 Cent is in the news again for coming out on a broadcast or a podcast with Lil Wayne, and where he said something to the effect of he likes dating women that are exotic, i.e., that stuff look you don't see that in the hood. It looks like it just came off the boat. You know, tired of dealing with the angry, frustrated. I don't know if he said black woman, but the inference was black woman, and of course, 50 Cent is catching heat from many sectors of the world. O'Shea Duke Jackson made a video about it. CD made a video about it. Several people have responded to it. One thing that I found that's interesting is when they went to Fox Soul and they had the cocktails and queens, Vivica Fox, Shalina, whatever, Claudia, and Lisa Ray. Four post-wall black women. I mean, not even post-wall. Four older black women. And they went and asked one of the women, one of the panelists asked all the women, and who was the first person to raise their hand to comment on what 50 Cent said? First of all, I'm not going to call him 50 Cent. I'm going to say Curtis Jackson. See, 50 Cent, that's the brand. That's the rapper. 50 Cent is not a high value man. 50 Cent is not a high value man. Curtis Jackson is. Jay-Z, by himself, in my opinion, not a high value man. Sean Carter is. Check. Curtis Jackson gave his opinion on Lil Wayne's podcast. And an ex-lover of Curtis Jackson, Vivica Fox, the first words out of her mouth was with that old, drawn-up Cruella de Vil look on her face. Just go look at it, because if you try to play it, they're going to copy. They're going to hit you for a strike. He would say something like that. You know, he's just an F-boy. Now, why you, out of all the people, raised your hand to say something about your ex-lover is very telling. By show of hands, who thinks if you have Vivica Fox as a 1 and Curtis Jackson is a 2, who do you think is winning in life? Vivica Fox, 1, or Curtis Jackson as a 2 in 2020? If you believe Vivica Fox is winning overall, put a 1 in the chat room. But if you believe Curtis Jackson is winning overall, put a 2 in the chat room. The fact that she came out calling him an F-boy, and you would say something like that, and then she went and did the typical things. You don't want somebody to challenge you. Newsflash, high-value men don't want their women to challenge them. You want somebody to just sit there and look pretty in their place. Newsflash, high-value men want their women to sit over there and look pretty in their place. Which is why you're in your unmarried place. And for everything that she said, she went down all the things: shame, insults, guilt, and the need to be right. Let's talk about it. You know, Selena Johnson said, you know what? We need our high value men like Curtis Jackson. hey brother, could you help to possibly moderate your tone? Because whether you say it, whether you think it or not, lots of guys are looking at you. Selena Johnson backed up and said, excuse me, Mr. Jackson, you're entitled to your preference. However, other men are listening to you, and it's already hard enough for black men and black women. Could you possibly maybe say it a different way? Kudos to you for being able to read the room. Lisa Ray came in and said, y'all gonna be mad at me. Lisa Ray got it right. She said that man's entitled to his preference. If he likes what he likes, so about it. Good thing for him. If you say you like Italian men, like they're about to go over to Italy, you don't want anybody saying anything about you. See, that caused one Vivica A. Fox to start to not backpedal, but readdress, because two of the three women said, no, no, no. He's a high value man. He has power and influence, and he's entitled to his preference, because we would look all kind of hypocritical if somebody said this to us. And then Claudia basically kind of co-signed with Vivica and all this. You came from a black woman and just all just. Then of course, Lil Wayne's daughter, Reginae Carter, had something to say about it. She didn't say it directly because her father was on a podcast, and she's like, I'm beautiful, I'm this, I'm that, and I'm a queen. Stand up, look, sweetheart. No. If you were not Lil Wayne's daughter, you get no airtime. You're cute, but you're not nearly fine, and you're not nearly in the league to be talking like that. And see, I'm not supposed to say that. I'm not supposed to say that because there are people that have a problem with certain types of high value black men. First of all, the type of high value black men they have a problem with are the ones that are outspoken. The ones that are outspoken. Because the outspoken ones tend to be unbothered, tend to say what's on their mind. Why? I mean, when you listen to what Vivica A. Fox said, and 50 Cent, and Curtis Jackson responded and said, man, my ex-lover still want me. 17 years ago, we was together for 4 months, and she's still mad. My Badoom Doom must be better than I thought. Kudos to you, 50 Cent, for smiling through it. Because who looked more hurt? Curtis Jackson or Vivica A. Fox? I mean, have you guys looked at the way Vivica looks these days? Every time you see her, it look like she done sucked on a bag of lemons. Now, I remember back in the 90s when Vivica was hot. Fine. But Vivica, but so many women like Vivica A. Fox fall into a broadcast where I said, women have already met their guy, and they blew it. A woman like her with that access to everything she's had, she already met her guy, but she likely blew it. And why is this such a problem? We're going to get into it. The only problem when you're a high value black man is when you're outspoken, you're out in front, you're masculine, heterosexual, unashamed, and unbothered. Let me say that again. When you're outspoken, you're out in front, you're masculine, heterosexual, unashamed, and unbothered. See, if you weren't outspoken, they wouldn't have any problem with you. Keep your money, we'll support you. If you weren't out in front, if you were playing the back and letting, the quote unquote typical power players, females, get the shine. If you were feminine, you're not going to be masculine. If you were effeminate, you're going to sit around and yes, no, demure, They got no problem with you. But when you're the opposite, and then when you are unashamed of it, when you're unashamed of being all the things, and you're unbothered by the response, that's a problem. The only problem is when you are outspoken, out in front, masculine, unashamed, and unbothered. You know, like the rest of high value men everywhere else in the world. Let me say that again. You know, when you're a black man and when you're a black high value man and you just like the rest of men everywhere else in the world. See, everywhere else in the world, high value men can be all these things and it's not a problem. But in Black America, it's a problem. Why? Well, in particular for older black women, because they get upset with some very core concepts. Some very core concepts they get upset with. First, here's all the big ones. They get upset with the concept of the wall. They want to argue with it. I've actually heard when I say older women, I mean for marriage. I've actually heard older women, and I do not consider a woman in her early 30s to be a young woman. I consider you to be middle-aged. I consider you to be a young woman when you're in your teens to your early 20s. We need to stop calling women over 30 young women. You are not. They tend to have a problem with the concept of the wall. I've actually heard women say, well, guys hit the wall too. No such thing. They have a problem with the concept of the wall. Why? Because they're past it. They're past it and they want to say 40 is the new 30. No, 40 is 40. Your eggs say 40. You can't have a new plan with old eggs. They tend to have a big problem with age gap dating when it's a man who's older. See, Stella can go get her groove back, but age gap dating is PETA. It's weird. It's predatory when it's an older man and a younger woman. But everywhere else in the world, it's perfectly acceptable. It's normal. Matter of fact, I could say, Dennis Sperling was talking about in Latin countries, they don't want you trying to date young women when you're a young man. You have nothing. What other concepts do they get upset with? Patriarchy. You know, men first instead of the matriarchy. They tend to get upset with gender roles. It's all this fluid stuff. There are no gender roles. We're all equals. They tend to have overall problems with what could be considered traditional values. And the high joker in the deck is no matter what, you ain't supposed to say nothing because your mama black and you owe all black women because you came out of one. Now, understand something. They tend to have problems with all of these things, all the while wanting the outcomes that men like this typically produce. You got a problem with the things, but you want the outcomes that these mindsets typically produce. And ultimately, a lot of these older women, they're mad because whether they admit it or not, they have blown their shot and they are out of time. Vivica Fox, for everything that you were in the 90s, Vivica was premium in the 90s. You will never see another Independence Day. When you're on Fox Soul, O'Shea said it, basically you have gone to where careers go to expire. And while you're over there, what I hear coming from her is what I hear come from Lonnie Love and a lot of these women. You're using your platform to attack and target high value black men. That playbook is dead. I mean, notice that none of the videos over there have gone viral because the times have shifted. Younger women are looking at the Vivicas and their mothers and their grandmothers and saying, and their aunties and say, I don't want to be no parts of that. They're angry, they're upset, they're mad, or whatever, and they will be loath to admit it, that they know in their heart of hearts they've missed their shot. They know they missed their shot, and you can't turn the clock back. And the fact that most, and this doesn't give me any particular pleasure to say it, the fact that most will die alone is maddening to these women And they're going to make black men feel their pain. Why? Well, especially if you're a woman like that, where you've accomplished something. You're not working retail somewhere. You're not working as an accountant somewhere. You actually have had a career. And she looks at her white counterparts or non-black counterparts, and they were able to parlay that career into access an opportunity with other people, other men, and to lock down a man and produce a family. What did you do what do these women do? You can look at the women who are the most angry, the most upset, the most sour, the most bitter sounding, and ask them, what have they done with the education, income, and access that they have? What have they done with it? They always want to throw it up in your face, what they got. Okay, but what have you done with it? You got it. You got your Beamer, your Benz, or whatever. You got your house. You got your this. You got all that. You got your Ivy League education. You got your masters. You got all that. What have you done with it? You are no longer in the hood. You over here now. You're at access over here. You're floating in this circle. What have you done with it? What has it netted you? What has it gotten you? And sadly, what has gotten most of them is not what they want. It's not what they want. So, when we look at what 50 Cent said, that he said he likes something exotic. You know what exotic is in the black community? Femininity, submission, cooperation. That's exotic. That's exotic. When you got a brother say, why would I want to get a woman with Brazilian weave? Why don't I just go get a Brazilian woman? You can't fault that. And there are a lot of brothers that feel bad that they would like to kick it with a sister. Matter of fact, in my group, The Mix, I put out a test, just a little test, just a test. And of the guys in my group, The Mix, there are roughly 500, almost 600 people in there now. Roughly 300 men, 300 women, roughly. Well, no, it's more men than women. It's about 4-2. The net of it is, I said, guys, are you pro-marriage? Are you for marriage or against marriage? Simply. Gave them 48 hours to respond. Over 258 responses to this date. Only 3 said they don't want marriage. A group of black men who were confident, intelligent, and assertive, who raised their hand and say, I want to be in the top 10% into the top 5% of men. I have this kind of mindset. Oh, yes, and I vet, I look. Yep. 258 responses. 3. The others, emphatically. Most are emphatic. Yeah, I want to get married and kids and everything else. I want to pay the bills and everything else. Y'all will never see the names. So I laugh when I hear older black women talk about where all the good men at, where I can't find them, whatever. Well, one of the women in my group found hers in 10 days. And I'm not a matchmaker. The thing is, instead of sitting up there being angry and upset with what high value black men like Curtis Jackson say they want, why don't you give him what he wants? Instead of trying to get him to change what he wants or make him feel bad for what he wants, because it won't happen. Because no other race of men, high value men, are made to feel guilty or ashamed for their preferences. And black men are starting to shuffle that off. They're not being bothered by it anymore. They're moving on. That stuff stopped working. That stopped working circa 2005. Y'all are 15 years late. It worked up to 2005. This next Generation X black men, they've gone down the path of marriage, broken relationship, divorce, part-time dad, stepfather, and did everything right. And what black men like myself have said, you know what? I've paid my dues. And with what I have left in life, I'm going to have a good time and enjoy it. I'm not going to be angry with you. I'm not going to talk bad about you, But when it's all said and done, the women I deal with are going to be feminine, beautiful, inspirational. This was a great call we had today. You hear a bunch of high value men saying the same thing that was co-signed last night, and you can't say none of these men are bitter, angry. They just know what's up out there. And what are they teaching their sons? Brother said, hey man, I'd love for you to be able to teach my sons about the power and impact of image. I got him in etiquette. I got him in martial arts, here, and here. We just sitting here chopping it up. I'm like, I've never met this brother, but he and I are kindred spirits. And I know there are many more guys like him and the men in my group around this country. We are not an anomaly. So you can miss me with the fact of saying that every black man who's a high value man is self-hating and don't like his mama because he is tired of dealing with lemon-faced, bad attitude, demanding women who don't want to give us what we are asking for. Understand, that's ultimately what it comes down to. You ask us what we want and we tell you, and you don't want to give it to us. You're capable of giving it to us, but you don't want to. And that's a battle for you and your therapist. It's not something men over here should be worrying about. They should go on to find who wants to give it. Because I'm going to tell you, there are plenty of women wanting to get with these high value brothers. Plenty. And that's another reason why some of these older black women have such a hard problem with certain kinds of high value black men. Again, it's only the outspoken ones. If you are a more Obama-like, this kind of middle of the road, let Michelle do the thing, they love you. But those aren't the ones you want.
You spent years believing time was on your side, that you could come back at 40 and still pull the same men you attracted at 28. Life doesn't work that way. Value shifts, dynamics change. Your ex became the man you thought you deserved, and now he's choosing younger, softer, more cooperative women while you're still negotiating with reality. And instead of saying, maybe I should work on myself, you're blaming him, blaming the world, blaming men, blaming Kevin, but never looking in the mirror. And if you want access to a better man, you're going to have to do what you avoided for years. Accept the truth, improve yourself, embrace femininity, and stop expecting men to settle where you refuse to grow.